You come home after a regular day. You reach for your door handle and realize something's wrong. Your own wife has locked you out of your house. Not because of an emergency, not because of safety concerns, but because she's having what she calls an important phone conversation. Apparently, my presence was too distracting. That's exactly what happened to me last Thursday evening. And that was the moment I realized my marriage had crossed a line I never thought possible. I stood there in the hallway of our apartment building, key in hand, completely useless. The door was locked from the inside with that little chain latch, and through the door I could hear her voice. Low, secretive. When I knocked, she actually had the nerve to tell me to wait outside because she needed privacy. Privacy. In our shared home, from her own husband. Now, I'm not the kind of man who makes a scene or loses his cool, but standing there in that hallway, something inside me shifted. Not anger exactly, but a cold realization that this level of disrespect had somehow become normal in my marriage. How did we get here? When did I become someone who could be dismissed and locked out, like an unwelcome visitor? That's when she appeared. My neighbor from across the hall. I'd seen her around before, friendly, confident, always put together. She was coming back from the gym, still in her workout clothes. She looked at me standing there like an idiot outside my own apartment. Locked out? She asked with a knowing smile. Something like that, I replied. She tilted her head, that spark of mischief in her eyes. Well, she said, if you need somewhere to wait while she finishes her important call, my door's always open. The way she said important call told me she understood exactly how ridiculous this situation was. I was just about to make some coffee, she added, turning her key. Real coffee, not that instant stuff. Then she glanced back. The offer stands if you get tired of standing in the hallway like a delivery boy. From inside, I could still hear my wife's voice, louder now, completely oblivious to the fact that I was stranded outside. 15 minutes passed. Then 20, I knocked again. This is getting ridiculous, I called. Open the door. Just 5 more minutes, she snapped. This is important. 5 more minutes. Like I was an inconvenience. In my own life. I looked at my neighbor's door, still slightly open. The smell of fresh coffee drifted out. I couldn't even remember the last time my wife had made me coffee. That contrast hit hard. One door locked me out. The other invited me in. Then I heard her voice again, soft but clear. Coffee's ready when you are. Any man locked out of his own home deserves better than that. That was the moment something changed. It wasn't about coffee anymore. It wasn't even about being locked out. It was about respect, about partnership, about realizing that my wife had forgotten what those words meant. I waited 23 minutes before the latch finally slid open. 23 minutes of standing outside like a stranger. When she finally opened the door, she didn't even look guilty. Sorry, she said like it was nothing. That call ran longer than I expected. No apology. No explanation. Just a shrug and back to the kitchen, expecting me to follow like nothing had happened. But something had happened. I set my keys on the counter firmly. Who was so important you had to lock me out? I asked. It was private, she said. Some conversations require privacy. I can't have you walking around interrupting my thoughts. Interrupting your thoughts, I repeated slowly. In my home? Our home, she corrected, in that tone that tried to sound reasonable while being completely unreasonable. So let me get this straight. She thought it was acceptable to lock me out whenever she wanted space? Don't be dramatic, she said, waving me off. It was just a few minutes. 23, I said. That caught her off guard. Before she could respond, there was a knock at the door. Through the peephole, my neighbor, holding a small plate of cookies. I made too many, she said with a warm smile. Thought you might need something sweet after your wait outside. The way she said it, soft, polite, but with purpose, was perfect. My wife's jaw tightened. I smiled. That's very thoughtful. They smell amazing. Real butter, my neighbor said. Makes all the difference. My wife forced a smile. Thank you, that was very neighborly. Of course, my neighbor replied. We should all look out for each other, especially when someone's had a rough day. After she left, my wife slammed the door. What was that about? she demanded. A neighbor being kind, I said. Maybe you should try it sometime. That didn't go over well. Over the next few days, things only got worse. She locked the door again. Another important call. But this time, I didn't wait. I went straight to my neighbor's door. Locked out again? She asked with a smirk. Apparently, I need an appointment to enter my own home, I said. She opened the door. Well, my home doesn't require appointments. Come in. Her apartment was warm, inviting, smelled like vanilla and sandalwood. Coffee or something stronger? She asked. Something stronger, I said. She poured whiskey, the good kind, then looked at me and said, She's testing you, you know, seeing how much she can get away with before you finally say enough. She was right. That night, I didn't go back home. And when my wife came pounding on the door, shouting my name through the hallway, I didn't move. For once, she was the one locked out. Neighbors came out to see what was going on. She stood there in her robe screaming about betrayal, while everyone looked at her like she'd lost it. I stayed calm. Maybe next time, I said, you'll think twice before locking someone else out. That silence, that humiliation, hit her harder than anything I could have said. The next morning, she texted, We need to talk. I'm sorry. But by then, something inside me had shifted for good. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. When she showed up later, trying to apologize, I let her speak. But even then, she tried to justify it, saying we could set up a system for when she needed privacy. A system. For locking me out of my own home. That's when I realized she didn't get it. She never would. So when she gave me an ultimatum, choose her or me, I told her, I choose respect. I choose myself. And that was the end of it. That night I had dinner with my neighbor, a real dinner, not takeout eaten in silence. We laughed, we talked, we connected. For the first time in years, I felt seen. I felt valued. I hadn't just walked away from my marriage. I'd walked toward my peace. Outro for YouTube voiceover. And that's how it ended. Or maybe how it finally began. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. It helps us more than you know. And hey, I've got 2 more stories waiting for you. Click one now, and I'll meet you there. See you soon.